Howdy, folks. Doc, PT, your favorite Redneck Sages. Uh, we're with you today on 9/11, and we're going to pause for a minute to remember all the people who lost their lives, not only at the Twin Towers, not only in Pennsylvania, but also at the Pentagon. 9/11 is probably the most important event of a lot of our lives. So we're going to take a moment of silence and remembrance of all the fine people, good people, ordinary people that died on that day. We're going to ask you to take a moment with us.
All right. We also want to remember all the firemen that went in there to try to help all those people that died. I was just watching something a couple of days ago. One of the firemen passed away. I think 5 years ago. He was in all that rubble and inhaled all kinds of stuff, and it finally took his life. And it's more than just him, and all the policemen that went in there, and just the average ordinary citizen that tried to help other people that were caught up in all that mess in that terrible tragedy. In World War II, we got involved after Pearl Harbor, a sneak attack by the Imperial Japanese, and then I don't know how many years later, 50 years later, 55 years later,
Yeah.
we got another sneak attack by Arabs.
By Sunni Arabs. Well, like we said, we want to honor the victims and the victims' families. We want to remember all of those people. We want to remember the heroic firefighters, the police, the ordinary New Yorkers. But I also want to remember all of the fallout from 9/11, whether it's the Patriot Act 1 or 2, whether it's the 500,000 Iraqis that died or continue to die. Once we decided we needed to invade Iraq over 9/11 or whatever. We hear so much revisionist history nowadays. But for most of you young people, millennials or Generation X, 9/11 is probably more important to you than December the 4th. Was that not the day that's supposed to live in infamy forever? Or December 7th?
December 7th.
December 7th. We also want you to think about what do you think about our war on terror? What do you think about our response after 9/11 when 15 of the 17 hijackers were Saudi Arabian? None were Iraqi. I don't think any were Afghanistani. What do you think? Do you think that 9/11 was a dark operation by some part of the American government? What do you think? There's so much stuff on the internet about 9/11, being that our own industrial military complex decided to that they needed a war after the end of the Cold War. And honestly, folks, we have been on a perpetual war footing since the end of World War II. That's all our lives, PT.
Yeah.
And now after 9/11, we're in the midst of another endless war. This time, not against a nation, but against an ideology. An ideology without borders. A diffused ideology that probably can never be defeated by arms. What do you think? How has the war on terror affected you in your daily life? Do you fly? Do you rent a car? Do you bank? Do you go online? What do you think, PK?
Well, it's hard to say. Like you were saying, there's so much information out there, this way and that way and another way and another way. It's hard to decipher all that information on what the truth really is. And the sad part about it is we may not actually ever know what the truth really is. Everything gets covered up, hushed up. Everything's secret. We don't know what's actually going on in the government. Anything having to do with Washington, whether it's Congress, the president, or
The
in the
Senate.
military,
Military.
what is actually going on? Who knows? Who knows?
Yeah,
It's hard. It's hard.
it's hard to say. And folks, the war on terror isn't over. We've got a presidential election coming up. Is Mrs. Clinton or Mr. Trump going to handle these complicated issues better? I personally, I have no idea. I consider Hillary to be a hawk. I think that she doesn't mind sending her boys, especially after Benghazi, sending her people around the world to die.
She's been a hawk her whole career.
Her whole career.
You can go back into the archives and see where she's professed to be a hawk. People on both sides of the aisle in Congress have held her up as a hawk, pointed her out as a hawk. There's no doubt.
Bernie Sanders even pointed her out as a hawk.
There's no doubt that she won't have any qualms about sending our military into another war.
One of my main concerns about our military is now that we have a fully volunteer army, is less than 1% of the American population are involved in the military. And when Hillary or Trump or anybody sends the military around the world, sends our boys around the world to die, it's not affecting every one of you. I personally believe that we should reinstate the draft, where more of Americans have to suffer the pain of these international fiascos that we get ourselves involved in. There's a asterisk about the draft. There needs to be no deferments. There needs to be no way to get out of it except unless you're physically or mentally unable to perform the duties. It's just my thought. But my thoughts, your thoughts are just as important as my thoughts or PT's thoughts about this. And on the day that we will remember for a long time, I think it's important for you to take a minute and look at your family, your children, and speak your mind, not only on social media, but to your senator, your congressman, even to the Oval Office about this. Let those people know what you think.
Where are we going as a country?
Yeah.
What road are we going down? Are we going down the tubes? And I don't have any qualms about saying that Donald Trump would be any safer than Hillary Clinton. I really don't. I don't see how his presidency would be any safer for the world in general. Who knows?
Who knows?
He's liable to press the button. And,
From day one, you know.
From day one, who knows?
But I do think one thing that Trump wouldn't start a war with Russia like Hillary seems to be dead set on doing over Syria or over whatnot, over the Ukraine, let NATO push right up against the Russians' border. I consider that very dangerous. I don't think Trump would do that. But hell, we don't know. I don't know. What do you think?
What do you think? That's what's important. It's not. We're not trying to sway you anyway. What we're trying to do is get you to inform yourself, and you make a conscious decision.
Yes.
On where we need to go as a collective.
As a country, as a nation, politics is about to rip us apart. The right or the left, the religious, the non-religious. We do need to come together on some of these things, folks, or the world and the nation that we leave our children and grandchildren is not going to be the same one we inherited from our parents and our grandparents. There's some tough shit down the road.
In the 50s and the 60s, there was a bright future to look forward to, and now it's not so bright.
It's not so bright at all.
It's pretty dim. What could be coming?
Yeah, currently less than 63% of eligible work-age Americans have a job. Barely over 59% of all Americans have a job. Whew. You know, no wonder addiction, drug use, suicide is so prevalent in America. I think a vast majority of us look down the road and we don't see a shining city on the hill. We see swirling going down the toilet.
The current people that are in office that are running the country, they've been in office for years and years and years, and if it ain't obvious by now, it ought to be obvious in the near future that these folks ain't doing what they need to be doing to make sure we're on the right path.
I agree with you 100%. And this ideal that that for America to be first, that we have to put others down, that's stupid. I mean, I think everybody's boat can rise. It doesn't have to be sunk in a tsunami of irresponsible political decisions by our political leaders, irresponsible decisions by our business leaders, our corporate leaders in America.
Talked not only the war, but medicine,
Oh, God,
public health, the food supply. It's all driven by the dollar. It's not driven by trying to serve their fellow man.
Correct.
It's all about making another dollar. Is that what we want to be?
Yeah.
It's what we are.
That's what we are. I mean, are we to have a little more selling our kids and our grandkids down selling them down the toilet? But I do know this. No matter what path we take in America, the path we take is going to be up to you. If you sit on your ass, you don't speak out, whether you're on the left or the right, if you stay silent, hoping that you don't get noticed, hoping that the man doesn't come knocking on your door, things are not going to get any better. We leave the same criminals in Washington, D.C. and the same business leaders that don't give a shit about our country, that ship jobs overseas, import goods over here. What have we got? What have we got to look forward to?
All those people that are money hungry, money grabbers, they won't suffer the same consequences as the average everyday American. They can set themselves up in their ivory towers with all their protections around them.
Yeah,
And just watch the rest of us suffer.
And I think the vast majority of us are going to be on the suffering end. You know, every year when 9/11 rolls by, I look back to before 9/11. The Cold War had ended. That was 50 years of a total 100% war footing to fight the Soviets. Suddenly that is over, and now we have this another endless war that drains our resources, that drains our money. We can't build a military that in my idea what the military should be is actually to protect us. I don't know, folks. What do you think? You need to let us know. Don't let us know. Damn, sit around with your family, talk about it. Look at your daughter or your young daughter or your young son in the eyes and wonder whether or not they're going to be overseas in a few years, dying to, for what? For what?
You don't know.
I don't know.
All right, everybody out there, as you can see, we stopped our video recording for late breaking news that's hitting the airwaves. Appears like about 4 or 5 hours ago, Hillary Clinton almost hit the pavement trying to get in a van. She left a 9/11 ceremony early before she was intended to leave. Said she felt bad and almost hit the pavement. A couple of 3 aides helped her in her van, and they took off and apparently went to Chelsea's house.
They didn't go to the doctor?
No, didn't go to the doctor, didn't go to the hospital, didn't go to the ER. Went to Chelsea's apartment, and right now, that's all I know about it. Is this the person that needs to be president of the United States? They're blaming it on overheating. Temperature up there is probably, I think they're saying about 80 degrees.
Yeah, 80 degrees, and she passes out. Oh my God.
If you watch the video, you can see that they're actually dragging her feet, carrying her into the van.
And this lady, okay, her health, because she may be president, what's wrong with her should be important to you. It's damn sure important to me. I don't want to vote for someone to be president and they get up there and spaz out in the middle of some important meeting or something. I don't know what to say,
She needs
folks.
to get better treatment for whatever's going on with her. Look, that's obvious. She needs treatment for something,
It's
whatever
obvious.
it is, and we have the right to know what that is. Just ordinary, everyday citizen? No, we don't. We don't have that right. But somebody's the future of the president of the United States. We do.
Absolutely. I agree with you 100%, PT. Folks, I want to say thank you for tuning in on our 9/11 episode. We rednecks, proud Americans, and patriots. PT's pop was World War II veteran. My pop was a Korean War veteran. My uncle served in the military.
My dad's dad fought in France. Was wounded in France in World War I.
We support all our veterans, and we're looking out for you because you're looking out for us. Folks, a political election is important for all sorts of reasons. Our soldiers, our country, our nation. Hell, you know. Look at your paycheck every week. Anyway, thanks, guys, gals.
Look for us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and I hope you guys have a great day and a great next week. We'll see you soon.
See you soon.